Caitlin swallowed. It had been a lot easier to threaten to tell Joyce in the heat of anger than it was to consider going to her now. But of course, Rob was right. "Let's do it," she said. Joyce's room was off the little wood-panelled hallway under the stairs that led to the front lab. It had originally been a solarium, a glass-enclosed porch. Not only that, but the French door entrance was so large that anyone in the living room or foyer could see straight in. Only Joyce, Kate thought, could live in a room like this without any privacy. It probably had something to do with the fact that Joyce always looked good, whether she was doing business in a tailored suit or lounging in layered pink sweats, like tonight. "Hi guys," she said, looking up from a laptop computer. Light from her bedside lamp reflected off the glass walls. Caitlin sat gingerly on the bed, and Rob pulled up the desk chair. He was still holding the drawing. Joyce looked from one of them to the other. "Why so serious?" Caitlin took a deep breath at the same time as Rob said, "We need to talk to you." "Yes?" Kate and Rob exchanged glances. Then Caitlin burst out, "It's about Marisol." Joyce's eyebrows lifted towards her sleek blonde hair. "Yes?" "She's been saying things to Caitlin," Rob said. "Weird things, about the Institute being dangerous, and she wrote this on a drawing Caitlin did." Still looking puzzled, Joyce took the paper, scanned it. Kate felt her stomach knot. She had stopped breathing completely. When Joyce threw back her head, Kate thought for a moment she was going to scream. Instead, she burst into laughter. Peals of laughter, musical and uncontrollable. After a minute she calmed down into snorts, but when she looked at Caitlin and Rob, she went off again. Caitlin felt her own mouth stretch into a smile, but it was the polite, unhappy smile of someone waiting to be let in on a joke. At last, Joyce collapsed against the mounded pillows, wiping tears from her eyes. "I'm sorry, it's not really funny. It's her medication. She must not have been taking it." "Marisol takes medication?" Rob asked. "Yes, and she's fine when she does take it. It's just that sometimes she forgets or decides she doesn't need it, and then, well, you see." And Joyce waved the paper. "I suppose she means it symbolically. She's always been a little worried about the psychics misusing their powers." Joyce turned to Caitlin, obviously struggling not to grin. "You don't take her literally, I hope." Caitlin wanted to drop through the floor. How could she have been so stupid? Of course it had all been a terrible mistake. She should have realised that. And now she blundered in on Marisol's emotional problems, or mental problems, or whatever. "I'm sorry," she gasped. Joyce waved a hand, biting her lip to keep from laughing. "Oh, look. No, I'm really sorry. It was kind of spooky and I didn't understand. I thought there must be some simple explanation, but..." Caitlin took a breath. "Oh, God, I hope we haven't gotten her into trouble." "No, but maybe I should let Mr. Zaitz in on this," Joyce said, sobering. "He was the one who recruited her. She was actually hired before I was. I think she's a friend of his daughter's." "Mr. Zaitz had a daughter? She must be pretty old," Caitlin thought. It was surprising she would have a friend as young as Marisol. "Anyway, don't worry about it," Joyce said. "I'll talk to Marisol about her meds tomorrow and get everything straightened out. By the way, Kate, when did you draw this?" "Oh, yesterday, during the remote viewing experiment. I dropped it when I heard the guy with the mohawk screaming." "How is that guy?" Rob asked softly. He was looking at Joyce with steady golden eyes. "He's fine," Joyce said, and Caitlin thought she sounded slightly defensive. The hospital gave him a tranquilizer and released him. "Because," Rob went on, "I still think you should be careful with Yes, right. I'm going to change the protocol with Gabriel's experiment." Joyce's tone closed the subject and she glanced at her clock. "I'm so embarrassed," Caitlin said as she and Rob walked back up the stairs. "Why? After what Marisol did, you had every right to ask what was going on." It was true, but Kate still felt that somehow she should have realised. She should have more faith in Mr. Zaitz, who, after all, had paid a lot of money to give the five of them a new life. She should have known that Marisol was having paranoid delusions. The new life felt a bit lonely as Kate and Rob parted in the hallway. It was maddening to have him say goodnight so cheerfully, as if he enjoyed being her big brother, as if being anything else had never crossed his mind, which, in his view, it probably hadn't. He seemed to have wiped the entire incident this afternoon out of his consciousness. Anna sat up as Caitlin came in the bedroom. "Where have you been?" "Downstairs." Caitlin wanted to talk to Anna, but she was very, very tired. She fumbled in a drawer for her nightgown. "I think I'll go to sleep early. Do you mind?" "Of course not. You're probably still sick," Anna said, instantly solicitous. Just before falling asleep, Caitlin murmured, "Anna, do you know what a pilot study is?" "I think it's a kind of practice experiment. You do it first, before the real experiment, like a pilot episode for a TV show comes out." "Oh, thanks." Caitlin was too sleepy to say more, but it occurred to her that maybe Marisol had told the truth about one thing. Marisol had claimed to have been around for the pilot study, and Joyce had said that Marisol had been recruited before her. The rest was nonsense though, like the idea that Joyce had put something weird on her forehead. God, she was glad Rob hadn't mentioned that to Joyce. Joyce would have thought Caitlin needed medication too. And Rob. But she wouldn't think about Rob now. She'd deal with him tomorrow. All that night she had strange dreams. In one she was on a windswept peninsula, looking out over a cold grey ocean. In another she was with Marisol and a group of strangers. All of them had eyes in their foreheads. Marisol smirked and said, "Think you're so smart? You're growing one too. The seed's been planted." Then Gabriel appeared and said, "We've got to look out for ourselves. You see what can happen otherwise?" Caitlin did see. Rob had fallen into a deep crevice and he was shouting for help. Caitlin reached out to him, but Gabriel pulled her back, and Rob's voice kept echoing. All at once she was awake. The room was full of pale morning light, and the shouting was real.